There are still places in this world that leave modern people bewildered. Ancient structures so massive, mysterious artifacts, and even entire civilizations that once flourished brilliantly, only to vanish without a trace. These are not legends or fairy tales, but real mysteries documented by archaeologists and historians. From colossal stone blocks that even modern machines struggle to move, to ancient cities now lying deep beneath the ocean. Today, we will journey together into the unsolved mysteries of the ancient world, where history itself sometimes breaks all the rules. Hidden beneath the green hills of Shanxi Province, China, lies a place where history and legend have yet to reach their deepest end. This is the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unite all of China. For more than 2,000 years, this mausoleum has remained perfectly intact. It is protected not only by an army of imposing terracotta warriors, but also by countless stories of hidden treasures, deadly traps, and secrets never revealed. While the famous army has been unearthed and become one of the world's greatest archaeological wonders, the central chamber of the tomb, where the most powerful emperor in Chinese history rests, remains completely untouched and unexplored. The tomb complex is located near Xi'an, spanning an immense area of 56 square kilometers. Construction began when Qin Shi Huang was only a 13-year-old boy and was only completed after his death. According to ancient records, over 700,000 laborers were mobilized to create this mausoleum, a figure far surpassing any other structure of its time. Surrounding the tomb are hundreds of burial pits, each filled with clay soldiers, war horses, and chariots. Every single statue was crafted with meticulous detail, their faces and armor distinct from one another, as if each figure had once truly lived in history. The historian Sima Qian once described the tomb as a magnificent underground palace, a microcosm of the emperor's entire kingdom. According to the chronicles, inside the tomb are flowing rivers of mercury, representing the great rivers of China, designed to run eternally through the chamber. The ceiling of the tomb was inlaid with pearls to recreate a sky full of stars, while treasures, palaces, and even officials were buried to serve the emperor in the afterlife. There were even automatic traps like crossbows set to fire at intruders to protect the secrets of the tomb from any who might dare enter. Legend has it that many craftsmen who built the tomb were buried alive afterward to ensure no one could ever reveal its true entrance. Today, modern surveys using advanced technology have confirmed that beneath the massive mound lies a mysterious structure, and the soil in the area contains unusually high concentrations of mercury, perfectly matching Sima Qian's ancient descriptions. Yet not a single archaeologist has dared to dig deeper. The most important reason is that experts fear any attempt to excavate the tomb now would result in the permanent destruction of whatever remains inside. When the terracotta army was first discovered, the vibrant colors of the statues vanished within minutes of exposure to air. Furthermore, the mercury in the soil poses a significant danger to both people and the environment. If not handled with extreme care, the consequences could be akin to a massive chemical spill. Moreover, preservation technology for fragile materials such as silk, ancient paper, or important documents is still not truly ready for such an enormous task. Beyond scientific reasons, there are also deep spiritual and cultural factors at play. In China, imperial tombs are considered sacred ground. To disturb them would be seen as an affront to the ancestors and to national history itself. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang is even more special, for he is a symbol of unity and absolute power. Not only ordinary citizens, but even the government are extremely cautious about releasing survey data, and many believe there may be secrets within the tomb that the world is simply not ready to face. Some bold theories even suggest the tomb could hold ancient knowledge far beyond our understanding, or perhaps evidence of a once advanced civilization or lost technologies. Today, millions of visitors come each year to marvel at the terracotta army, yet the central burial mound, believed to hold the emperor's actual tomb, still stands undisturbed, a silent reminder of a past filled with mystery and power. Beneath the vast skies and endless steppes of Mongolia lies a mystery that has endured for more than 8 centuries, one that no one has yet been able to unravel. This is the lost tomb of Genghis Khan, the man who forged the greatest empire in human history. Despite being one of the most renowned conquerors of all time, his final resting place has left no trace. How could the burial site of such a legendary emperor vanish without a single clue? And does his tomb truly hold the legendary treasures gathered from across the Mongol Empire? Somewhere among the wild mountains and boundless grasslands of northern Mongolia, the tomb of Genghis Khan remains beyond the reach of archaeologists, explorers, and treasure hunters alike. He died in 1227, yet to this day no one has been able to determine exactly where he was buried. Unlike famous tombs such as the terracotta army of Qin Shi Huang or the Egyptian pyramids, Genghis Khan's burial site has left not the slightest sign on the surface. According to legend, he himself requested to be buried in absolute secrecy, leaving no trace for future generations. Even the secret history of the Mongols, the oldest surviving chronicle of Mongol history, mentions only the year of his death, saying nothing about his final resting place. Marco Polo, who lived under the rule of Genghis Khan's grandson, even wrote that the Mongols themselves did not know where the tomb was located. Folk tales recount that after Genghis Khan died during a military campaign in northern China, his body was brought back to Mongolia. To keep the location a secret, the escort party reportedly killed every person they encountered along the journey home. Some legends go further, claiming that 2,000 people who attended the funeral were executed, and that those who carried out this grim task were themselves killed so that no one would ever know the truth. 1,000 horses were said to have been driven across the burial ground to erase all traces. Other stories speak of rivers being diverted to flood the tomb, or entire forests planted to conceal it. One particularly moving tale tells of a young camel buried with the emperor, and for years afterward, the mother camel returned to weep at the grave, helping Genghis Khan's descendants locate their ancestors' resting place. Yet to this day, no document has ever revealed the true location. For decades, countless theories have been proposed regarding the final resting place of Genghis Khan. Most researchers believe the tomb lies somewhere near Burkhan Khaldun, the sacred mountain where he was born and where he once prayed before uniting the Mongol tribes. Some archaeologists have used drones and modern imaging technology to search for anomalies, but every excavation effort has been blocked by local residents who regard the land as holy and will not permit it to be disturbed. There have even been projects using satellite imagery and crowdsourcing involving tens of thousands of volunteers analyzing data, yet the results remain nothing more than unresolved theories. The mystery of Genghis Khan's tomb goes beyond its physical location. It is believed that if ever found, the site could hold enormous treasures and priceless artifacts from across the empire, stretching from China to Persia. Some tell of guardian spirits, deadly curses, and bizarre accidents that have befallen expeditions seeking the tomb. But for the Mongolian people, what matters most is the respect owed to their national hero. Genghis Khan was not only a conqueror, He laid the foundation for religious freedom, a postal system, even paper currency. They believe his wishes must be honored, and any intrusion would be seen as a grave insult to their ancestors. Today, despite the march of technology, the Khenti region remains a remote, nearly inaccessible wilderness, and the tomb of Genghis Khan remains forever out of humanity's grasp. Should this mystery ever be solved, the discovery could rival the unearthing of the Terracotta Army or the rediscovery of lost ancient scrolls. Yet perhaps his tomb will always remain a part of legend, protected by the vast steppe, the silent rivers, and the shadows of galloping horses racing endlessly through history. Now, the discovery of an ancient giant in the winter of 1890 in a small village called Castellus, the anthropologist Gore Vascher de Lauge unearthed 3 enormous bone fragments from a burial mound dating back to the Bronze Age. These fragments belong to a human who stood over 11 feet tall, a height that far surpasses every conventional standard of our species. Was this truly evidence of a race of giants that once walked the earth, or merely the result of a strange and improbable mistake? When George Vascher de Lauge began his archaeological work in Castellus, he never expected to encounter 3 remarkable bones: a section of a femur, part of a tibia, and a piece believed to be from an armbone. The measurements, published in the journal La Nature in 1890, showed that these bones were twice the size of modern human bones. The femur measured 14 centimeters across, with a circumference of 16 centimeters. The tibia was 26 centimeters long, and the arm fragment was unusually large. Based on these calculations, Lauge estimated that the individual must have stood 3.5 meters tall and weighed several hundred kilograms. He went so far as to insist that these were unquestionably human bones, despite their extraordinary size. The fragments were later sent to the University of Montpellier for expert analysis. Leading figures in zoology, paleontology, and anatomy all agreed that the bones belonged to a very tall race, though they also noted the possibility of pathological growth. Just a few years later, further reports emerged. Giant skulls and large bone fragments were discovered near Méliès, believed to have come from people between 10 and 15 feet tall. These remains were sent to the French Academy of Sciences, but afterward they vanished without a trace, leaving modern science unable to follow their trail. The Castelnau mystery only deepened as modern scholars began to question the origin of these bones. In 2022, anthropologist Catherine Haskin proposed that they might have simply been the bones of a giant bear that once roamed prehistoric Europe. In the 19th century, it was not uncommon for large animal bones to be mistaken for human remains, especially when anatomical knowledge was still limited. But if these were merely animal bones, why did the Montpellier experts of that time confirm them as human? And why, to this day, has no modern study ever re-examined these fragments? The story of the Giant of Castelnau is not merely a question for archaeology. It opens a doorway into the realm of myth and legend. From the Cyclops of ancient Greece to the Nephilim in the Bible, almost every culture has tales of giants who once walked the earth. In Castelnau, villagers still speak of a cave that once sheltered a giant, and 19th-century newspapers claimed that Lapouge's discovery might be the key to unraveling those ancient legends. Some have even speculated that these bones are traces of a lost civilization or perhaps of extraterrestrial visitors, though no scientific evidence has ever been produced. Still, the world of archaeology is not without its hoaxes and exaggerations, often driven by religious or financial motives. The Cardiff Giant, a stone statue buried to fool the American public in 1869, is one famous example. Yet the fact that leading experts in Méliès examined and verified the Castelnau bones in 1890 makes the hoax theory harder to accept in this particular case. Today, the bones that once shocked the world have disappeared from all collections, their whereabouts unknown, and they have never been re-examined with modern technology. The question of the Giant of Castelnau's origin remains unanswered. If such a being truly existed, why has no further evidence ever surfaced in a region so rich in archaeological sites? And if it is all just legend, why does the story endure, continuing to challenge the curiosity of humankind? Longyou Caves. Hidden deep beneath the lush green rice fields of Longyou County, Xizang Province, China, lies one of the greatest archaeological mysteries ever encountered by modern history. It is known as the Longyou Caves Complex. The story of Longyou began entirely by chance in the summer of 1992, when a local farmer decided to drain the water from a large natural pit near his home to expand it. He had no idea that beneath the still surface of the water lay a vast space, a massive cavern with perfectly flat walls covered in evenly carved patterns that seemed as if they had been made by modern machinery. This discovery sparked immense curiosity and excitement throughout the village. The locals continued to pump water from other pits nearby, and soon, before their eyes, appeared an entire underground city of more than 20 interconnected caves. What makes Longyou a mystery that defies every theory is the sheer perfection of its engineering and scale. Each cave rises more than 30 meters high, with walls that have been smoothed and sculpted to a flawless finish. The domed ceilings and pillars are laid out in precise harmony, and every surface is covered with parallel, wave-like carvings running in unbroken lines from the ceilings to the stone floors. No human remains or artifacts have ever been found, nothing to indicate that any community ever lived or labored here. Who built the Longyou Caves? According to archaeologists, based on the erosion of the stone and other geological factors, the complex could be more than 2,000 years old, dating to the Qin or early Han dynasty. And yet, not a single ancient Chinese chronicle makes any mention of Longyou. How could such a massive undertaking vanish entirely from the historical record? Many theories have been proposed, but each one only leads to more unanswered questions. Some suggest the caves were ancient granaries, wartime shelters, or even forgotten royal tombs. A few Western researchers lean toward the idea that Longyou was a sacred site, or perhaps a secret ceremonial center. Most striking of all, the nearly identical carved patterns in every single cave suggest that the project was executed under unified direction, using skills that far exceeded the standards of any known ancient civilization. Could this be the legacy of a civilization we have never known? Or the product of construction techniques now lost to time, beyond the imagination of the modern world? Today, the Longyou Caves still lie quietly beneath the farmland, a testament to the creative power and the enduring mysteries of those who came before us. And until some deeper secret is revealed, the Longyou Caves will remain a reminder that human history is filled with unwritten pages, unanswered questions, and a quest to understand the true origins and meaning of wonders like Longyou that will continue to captivate generations of explorers. Baalbek megaliths. Hidden within the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon, once a crossroads for ancient civilizations, the old town of Baalbek has long stood at the center of one of the greatest architectural mysteries in human history.
Upon arriving here, no one could suspect that behind these age-old ruins lie stone blocks so enormous that their size and weight defy both the imagination and the limits of modern engineering. At the heart of this enigma are the three famous stones known as the trilithon. Each block nearly 20 meters long, over 4 meters high, and weighing between 750 and 800 tons.
To put it in perspective, each stone is as large as a Boeing airliner. These massive blocks are stacked atop one another, forming the foundation for the legendary Temple of Jupiter, a structure built by the Romans in the 1st century AD. Yet the sheer weight and scale of these stones far surpass anything the Roman civilization was thought to be capable of. There is no record of any Roman lifting device or construction tool capable of moving stones of such staggering mass. Not far away, right at an ancient quarry, even larger blocks have been found. Among them is the stone of the pregnant woman, weighing nearly 1,000 tons. Another block weighing 1,242 tons, and most remarkably, in 2014, archaeologists uncovered a stone weighing a staggering 1,650 tons, regarded as the largest stone block ever known to mankind. Strikingly, these giant stones remain in the quarry, posing a tremendous question about the true intentions and capabilities of the ancients. Numerous theories have been put forth to explain the mystery of Baalbek. Some researchers believe the Romans used wooden rollers and earthen ramps to transport the stones from the quarry to the construction site. Yet this theory quickly reveals its weakness, for the Roman cranes could only lift between 60 and 100 tons at most, while the blocks here are many times heavier. Moreover, there is no evidence that they ever used a coordinated system of machines to solve this challenge. For this reason, many scholars now believe that the foundation of the Temple of Jupiter actually predates the Romans, perhaps belonging to a civilization much older and more advanced. They point to striking similarities between Baalbek and other megalithic structures around the world, such as the Sacsayhuaman fortress in Peru and the Egyptian pyramids. Could it be that ancient humanity possessed technologies far beyond what we know today? Despite decades of research, the secret of the giant stones at Baalbek remains unresolved. There are no ancient records describing how this feat was accomplished. The tools used have left no trace. All that remains are the silent stones themselves, defying the passage of time and resisting every effort humanity has made to unlock their mystery. Within the archives of Sweden's National Library lies one of the most haunting and enigmatic manuscripts ever crafted by human hands. The Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible. Regarded as the largest surviving medieval manuscript, the Codex Gigas astonishes not only with its colossal size, but also with the dark and chilling legends that have surrounded it for nearly 800 years. The manuscript weighs nearly 75 kilograms, measures 92 centimeters long, 50 centimeters wide, and 22 centimeters thick, so large that even a grown adult must use both arms just to move it. Experts estimate that it would have taken hundreds of sheets of calfskin to produce its massive pages. But its size is not the only thing that makes the Codex Gigas famous. What truly elevates it to legend are the stories of curses and supernatural powers that have become attached to the book. According to a legend passed down since the 13th century, the manuscript was written by a Benedictine monk in Bohemia, a land that is now part of the Czech Republic. This monk had committed a terrible crime and was sentenced to be walled up alive in the monastery, a punishment among the most horrifying of the Middle Ages. Desperate and terrified, he pleaded for his life, promising that if given one night, he could produce a manuscript containing all human knowledge, from the Bible to the sciences of history, medicine, and magic.
Knowing the task was impossible for any mortal, the monk is said to have made a plea to the devil. According to legend, Satan himself appeared and helped him finish the manuscript in a single night in exchange for the monk's soul. In gratitude, the monk painted a gigantic portrait of the devil in the very center of the book, a demonic image unlike anything seen in any other biblical manuscript on earth. Yet, this story is only legend. In reality, researchers have determined that the Codex Gigas was completed in the early 13th century at the Podla Ice Monastery. But what continues to astonish modern scholars is the perfect consistency of handwriting and style across all 620 pages. It appears as though the book was written by a single hand, possibly over many years. Inside the Codex, Gigas is not only the entire Latin Bible, but also texts on history, anatomy, magic, astrology, and even catalogs of demons and spells. Most striking of all is the enormous illustration of Satan, with glowing eyes, a red tongue, and razor-sharp claws positioned in the middle of the manuscript. This image has convinced many that the book is cursed, and that whoever possesses it is doomed to misfortune or catastrophe. Over the centuries, the Devil's Bible has witnessed countless upheavals. It was once seized by Swedish forces as a prize during the 30 Years' War and taken to Stockholm in 1648, where it remains preserved to this day. There are tales that wherever the manuscript appears, disaster follows: disease, war, or even the collapse of dynasties. Today, the Codex Gigas continues to draw thousands of scholars, theologians, and mystery seekers from all over the world. And until the Codex Gigas is fully deciphered, it will remain a symbol of obsession, curiosity, and the endless quest to uncover secrets that humanity has yet to understand.
Göbekli Tepe, buried beneath the parched soil and stony hills of the Anatolian Plateau in Turkey, Göbekli Tepe remained silent and forgotten by history until the end of the 20th century. In 1994, when German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt struck the earth with his first shovel at this spot, no one could have imagined he was about to shake the very foundations of what we thought we knew about human history. For what gradually emerged at Göbekli Tepe left the world in awe. Hidden deep underground were massive circles of limestone pillars, each column rising up to 6 meters tall and weighing dozens of tons. Even more astonishing is the age of this site. More than 11,000 years old, meaning it predates the invention of the wheel, the discovery of agriculture, even the use of metal. It is a relic older than both the Egyptian pyramids and Stonehenge. These T-shaped pillars are not only monumental in size, but are also intricately carved with depictions of animals: lions, wild cattle, foxes, snakes, as well as countless abstract symbols. Every carving reads like a silent story, a testament to the worldview, beliefs, and imagination of prehistoric communities. The sheer sophistication of the work has left researchers questioning who conceived, designed, and built such a colossal wonder. The greatest paradox is that Göbekli Tepe is believed to have been built by groups of hunter-gatherers, societies long thought to be scattered and incapable of organizing such a monumental project. This very discovery has forced scientists to rethink the connection between religion, belief, and the rise of complex societies. Even stranger, around 8000 BC, the ancient builders deliberately buried the temple as if determined to seal its secrets away forever. That mysterious decision is what allowed the site to remain almost perfectly preserved for thousands of years.
Today, as Göbekli Tepe's ancient stones are brought into the light for the first time in millennia, they do more than rewrite our understanding of the past. They raise a host of questions that have yet to be answered. Could it be that human history is far deeper and more complex than we ever imagined? And how many more secrets still slumber beneath the earth, waiting to be discovered?
White Pyramid of China. Hidden beneath the dust of centuries in Shaanxi Province, China, the White Pyramid stands as one of the greatest enigmas that modern archaeology has ever faced. The stories surrounding it are not mere legends, but living symbols of our relentless urge to explore and of our deep frustration before mysteries that remain unsolved. In 1945, American pilot James Gossman, during a transport flight over the northwestern mountains of China, reported seeing a colossal pyramid in the valley below, its four faces gleaming white in a way that seemed almost impossible to believe. Just 2 years later, in 1947, another pilot named Maurice Shahan confirmed Gossman's account and even managed to take a few blurry black and white photos of the mysterious structure. When these images and reports reached the West, they caused a sensation among archaeologists and in the global media. Yet, as the war ended, China's borders gradually closed to foreign researchers. The area said to be the location of the White Pyramid came under strict control. Only a handful of local scholars were ever allowed to investigate, and official reports claimed these were nothing more than earthen burial mounds for ancient emperors built between the Qin and Tang dynasties. The Chinese authorities insisted that no white pyramid of extraordinary dimensions, as described by American pilots, truly existed. Even so, in recent decades, satellite images released by both Western and Russian sources have revealed pyramid-like structures scattered throughout Shaanxi. Some rise from 50 to over 100 meters tall, much larger than the pyramids of Egypt. One remarkable detail is the legend of the shining white surface. Local traditions tell that the structure was once covered in a layer of pure white limestone or clay, which reflected the sun and made it stand out against the gray backdrop of the surrounding mountains. Some Western scholars have compared it to the Great Pyramid of Giza, and even claimed the White Pyramid's estimated height of 300 meters and a base perimeter of more than 450 meters would surpass the wonders of Egypt. Who then built this immense structure, and for what purpose? Theories about the White Pyramid are as diverse and mysterious as the monument itself. Some archaeologists believe it was merely the burial mound of Chinese emperors, built as a statement of absolute power. Yet those drawn to mystery suggest that the White Pyramid is a relic of an ancient civilization now lost, one that predates the recorded history of China itself. More radical theories claim that the White Pyramid once served as a religious center or an astronomical site, much like the pyramids of the Maya, or even as an ancient observatory. They point to the way many pyramids in Shaanxi seem to be aligned with certain constellations, echoing the arrangement of the pyramids in Egypt. Some have even linked these structures to extraterrestrial civilizations, an idea as fascinating as it is unproven. Yet all these theories run up against one immovable fact. To this day, no one outside the Chinese archaeological community has been allowed full access to excavate or rigorously study these pyramids. Many tombs remain abandoned, for there is a Chinese belief that one should not disturb the emperor's slumber, lest disaster befall you. This only makes the White Pyramid a more powerful symbol of prohibition, a place where the boundary between reality and legend is still unbroken. Today, satellite images and covert expeditions have only increased the allure of the White Pyramid. It is not only a forgotten wonder, but a challenge to all who long to reach the hidden layers of human history. Could it be that beneath that shroud of earth and stone lies an unwritten chapter of civilization,
And will the day ever come when that secret door is opened, allowing the world to truly behold the monumental structure that once stood on the banks of the Yellow River?
Black Sarcophagus of Alexandria. Among the most sensational archaeological discoveries of the 21st century in Egypt, nothing compares to the frenzy ignited by the Black Sarcophagus in the summer of 2018. It all began at an ordinary construction site on Al-Kuraili Street in Alexandria, a city once hailed as the cultural, intellectual, and political heart of the ancient Mediterranean. As workers dug the foundations for a new building, they unexpectedly unearthed a massive stone block buried deep in the earth. Archaeologists were immediately summoned to the scene. After clearing away nearly 5 meters of soil and rubble, what emerged before them was a rectangular coffin made entirely of black granite, almost 2.7 meters long, 1.5 meters wide, over 1.8 meters tall, and weighing nearly 30 tons. It was larger than almost any sarcophagus ever found in Alexandria, or indeed anywhere in Egypt. Next to it was an alabaster bust, its face worn smooth with age, leaving the true identity of the tomb's owner an even greater enigma. Where royal or noble coffins are typically adorned with hieroglyphs, carvings, or paintings recounting names, titles, or achievements, this black sarcophagus was completely bare except for a plaster seal eroded away by centuries. This anonymous construction only fueled speculation. Was this the secret grave of a significant figure, or someone whose role in turbulent history had to be hidden for future generations? Rumors and conspiracy theories swirled. Some whispered that this could be the final resting place of Alexander the Great, the legendary king who founded the city itself. The body of Alexander has been missing for over 2 millennia. Was there an ancient curse inside the sarcophagus, like the legends that surrounded so many Egyptian tombs since Carter's discovery of Tutankhamun? Curiosity peaked in July 2018 when experts decided to open the sarcophagus due to its enormous size and depth. The operation required modern lifting equipment and strict safety measures to guard against toxic gases or biological hazards. When the lid was finally pried open, those present held their breath. Inside was neither an intact mummy, as many had hoped, nor any treasure. Instead, a foul stench filled the air, the result of filthy water seeping in over thousands of years, mixing with decomposing bodies to form a thick, reddish-brown liquid. Bizarre rumors quickly spread. Some even asked for permission to drink sarcophagus water in hopes of gaining supernatural power, forcing Egyptian authorities to issue health warnings to the public. Forensic analysis soon revealed 3 skeletons inside, stacked atop one another, 2 men and a woman. There was no trace of royalty, no gold or precious burial goods. Skull fractures on one individual suggested death from violence or warfare, while tests on teeth, bones, and carbon dating placed the remains around the 4th century BC, the early TM era when Alexandria was among the world's most prosperous cities. What puzzled scientists was why such a rare, enormous, and expensive granite sarcophagus would be used for 3 ordinary individuals buried without ceremony, with no inscription. Some theorized they might have been members of a forgotten noble family, soldiers who died in chaos, or high officials deliberately erased from history for political reasons. Others wondered if a taboo related to religion had forced their names to be erased forever. The use of black granite for the sarcophagus is itself remarkable. This stone would have had to be transported from Aswan, hundreds of miles south of Alexandria, a feat requiring enormous resources and money. The true reason for using such precious, enduring stone for an anonymous tomb remains a mystery.
The discovery of the black sarcophagus is not just an archaeological event. It is proof that history always finds ways to bury its strangest tales and forgotten lives, right in the heart of a city once called the Jewel of the East. It stands as a reminder that even after thousands of tombs and treasures have been unearthed, Egypt still holds countless secrets slumbering beneath the ground.
Piri Reis map. Amidst the Mediterranean sea breeze of the 16th century, a great mystery quietly appeared on the old parchment of a Turkish calligrapher. It was the Piri Reis map, a historical legacy that is both strange and challenges all the understanding of the modern world. Drawn in 1513 by Admiral Piri Reis, this map has astonished researchers for hundreds of years, not only because of its accuracy, but also because of details that seem to go far beyond the scientific capabilities of the Middle Ages. The Piri Reis map today remains only 1/3 of its original, but that remaining part alone is enough to make scholars from both the West and the East rack their brains in thought. On the Piri Reis map appear the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and most astonishingly, the northernmost part of Antarctica, a continent that would not be discovered by modern humans for more than 3 centuries. But even stranger are the details on the map, which show Antarctica not covered in ice, as if the author had drawn it before the Ice Age. The mystery begins with Piri Reis's own notes. He claimed that he had relied on more than 20 ancient maps from the Greek and Roman eras, and even some said to be from Columbus. However, not a single one of these maps can explain the astonishing accuracy of the coastlines or the appearance of Antarctica before it was covered in ice. Many theories have been proposed to explain this mystery. Some researchers believe that Piri Reis inherited ancient knowledge that modern humanity has long forgotten, even going so far as to ask whether the civilization of Atlantis once existed and possessed surveying techniques far ahead of its time. Others believe the map is simply the result of patchwork and exaggeration passed down by word of mouth and the imagination of sailors. However, the truth has not yet been solved. The Piri Reis map is not just an ancient document, but also a mirror reflecting the limits of human perception. How could a 16th century Ottoman admiral draw such accurate geographical features at a time when surveying tools and knowledge of the world were still so limited? Was there truly a prehistoric civilization? Or is this simply a random coincidence of history? Even though the answer remains unanswered, the map of Piri Reis still lies silently in the Topkapi Museum in Istanbul as a challenge left to all future generations. It does not just tell the story of the bravery of those who sailed the seas, but is also evidence of the power of curiosity, the thirst for discovery, and the mysteries that humanity has yet to reach.
Vanishing of the Clovis people. The story of the Clovis people began in the 1930s when archaeologists discovered unique and sophisticated stone spear points at a site near the city of Clovis, New Mexico. These sharp points were quickly determined to date back around 13,000 years, serving as proof of the existence of an advanced and mysterious hunting culture in North America. The Clovis people are regarded as masters of stone technology, with weapon-making techniques so advanced that even today, modern researchers still have much to learn from them. They survived by hunting large animals that are now extinct, such as mammoths, North American camels, and giant deer, and used sharp tools to endure the harsh conditions at the end of the Ice Age. But then, the Clovis culture suddenly vanished from all archaeological records within just a few hundred years. Scientists are still actively debating the real reason for their collapse. Some theories suggest that dramatic climate change at the end of the Ice Age, with rising temperatures and rapidly shifting environments, led to the extinction of the large animals on which the Clovis depended, dragging this group into ruin as well. Other researchers believe that the Clovis encountered a meteorite disaster, as evidence of cosmic glass, carbon dust, and widespread wildfires has been found at many ancient sites dating to the same period. Was it a meteor impact that wiped out this culture in an instant?
The Hawara Labyrinth. Buried deep beneath the desert sands of Egypt, not far from the city of Hawara, lies an architectural complex described by ancient historians as a colossal labyrinth, a structure so vast and intricate that it was said to surpass even the Great Pyramids themselves. The Roman historian Pliny the Elder called it the greatest wonder in the world. According to ancient records, the Hawara Labyrinth was built around 1800 BC during the reign of Pharaoh Amenhotep III. The Greek historian Herodotus, after visiting Egypt, described it in his book History with astonishment, saying it was a magnificent complex with 12 interconnected halls, 6 facing north and 6 facing south, all surrounded by a single wall. He added that the underground halls were more astonishing than the above-ground chambers, filled with winding passages that seemed to intentionally confuse visitors and protect the secrets within. At the center of the labyrinth was a temple and a colossal pyramid, which, according to Herodotus, was filled with secrets and stories of an unknown civilization. But since the time of the ancient Greeks and Romans, the Hawara Labyrinth has vanished entirely from sight, and its location has become one of the most enigmatic questions in the history of archaeology. Only in the late 19th century did British archaeologist Flinders Petrie succeed in locating the ruins of the Pyramid of Amenhotep III, the first tangible evidence of the labyrinth's existence. For many years afterward, the site was left unstudied until 2008, when the Mataha expedition, a collaboration of Egyptian, Belgian, and international archaeologists, embarked on a new survey. Using advanced ground-penetrating radar, the team found astonishing proof of an enormous and complex structure buried beneath the sand, perfectly matching the ancient descriptions. However, since this discovery, no further excavations have taken place, and access to Hawara remains tightly restricted. Why would a discovery capable of rewriting history be kept secret? Could this labyrinth conceal secrets authorities do not want revealed? One theory suggests that the Hawara Labyrinth was a funerary complex built to protect the tomb of Amenhotep III and his daughter. Historians believe it could contain treasures, artifacts, and texts revealing the secrets of ancient civilizations and cultures that predate recorded history. Some ancient documents claim the labyrinth was designed to confuse and protect the tomb from robbers. But there are also doubts that the labyrinth was as grand as Herodotus described. Some scholars believe ancient historians like Pliny exaggerated or relied on inaccurate sources, or may have never seen the structure themselves. Furthermore, over thousands of years, the Fayum region has been altered by flooding and stone quarrying, which may have destroyed or buried much of the labyrinth beneath Nile mud. Today, the Hawara Labyrinth remains an unsolved riddle. Even though radar has confirmed the existence of underground chambers, no one is permitted to enter and explore.